Welcome to the Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast, your go-to resource for personal development and coaching. I'm your host, Letitia Ringe, and I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I hope you are all so well and have had an amazing week. Today's episode is another business episode for you all. It will be very practical and strategic to help you identify what the next business problem is that you need to solve in order to grow your business. Now, when it comes to our businesses, the way our brain approaches growing a business is by thinking of all the different problems it could solve all at once. And the result of this is that you either end up pursuing a lot of different directions all at once, or you feel so overwhelmed and confused about which direction to take that you usually end up pursuing none of them. So today's episode is a solution to this. I'm going to teach you how to understand what that next most important business problem is for you to focus on solving. And I'm also going to give you a couple of questions to get you started on actually solving that problem. Now, I want you to know that when you focus your brain on solving one problem at a time, it actually allows you to experience more creativity, inspiration, and ideas in order to solve that problem. So you start thinking in a higher and better way. And you also end up having more energy and capacity, not only for your business and your clients, but also for the rest of your life. So this truly is a holistic strategy and approach to business. Now, the other thing I want you to know is that when you're focusing on solving a problem for your business, I highly recommend you focus on solving that problem for a period of at least 90 days. And the reason I give myself that much time is because it usually takes at least 90 days just to execute a strategy fully and to understand whether or not it's really working. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't tweak the strategy from your data and metrics as you execute the strategy. You will be doing that throughout the 90 days, but it means that you give the strategy overall enough time to be worked. And also, this is how we train our brain and body to stop acting from stress and instead to act from strategy. Isn't that delicious? So I want you to get really good at not acting from stress and acting instead from strategy. Now, the reason we want to do that is because we're teaching our brain and body not to be responding from a fear response and instead to be moving from a very intentional, strategic decision we've made in advance. Now, the reason we act from stress rather than strategy is because we think when we're coming from that place of fear that it's urgent and we need to figure this out now. But the truth is, as you move through any kind of growth or transformation in your life or your business, because you're moving from something that is familiar to unfamiliar, you're going to have this stress and fear activated within you, and your work is actually getting your mind and body to understand that it's not something to react from that fear-based response to, but instead to slow down, to calm down, to pause, to wait, to continue moving forward, to realign, reposition, support the strategy you're executing with both your mind and body. So we actually want to step out of our way and give the strategy enough time to work, and also use our ability to create and manifest, which is really just about being able to see where the results are actually happening right in front of you rather than missing them all because your attention is focused on all the ways it's not working. Okay, so when we act from stress, we simply try to put out fires. We usually create circumstances that create more stress, more fear. We don't think in the highest way. We end up feeling burned out, even if you're not taking a lot of action and you're just doing a lot of thinking or avoiding thinking because you're overwhelmed and stressed as a result of that. And so we don't take powerful action in our businesses. And that's what has us feeling really frustrated because we still haven't solved the problem, or we may have solved the problem in the flap of all of that activity, but it has felt really, really hard to get there. So instead, we want to teach and train our body and our mind that nothing in business is really urgent. Nothing should be operated from a place of stress. We want to move from strategy and show ourselves that we can trust ourselves to do that. We can trust ourselves to execute the strategy, to review the strategy, to make tweaks rather than throwing it all out, to give it space to actually work. And we understand that there isn't one right strategy for ourselves and our businesses. There are better strategies for ourselves and our businesses, ones that are actually aligned with the goals we want and also with the way we need to live and what makes us thrive as people. But there are multiple different strategies you can implement in your business, always all at once, that are in alignment with these things. So part of what we have to do is just get on board with the fact that really the biggest thing that stops a strategy from working is ourselves. We don't let it work. We step in our way. We don't see the good results we're getting, even when there are lots of failures. We try to throw everything out and then start again. So we keep like burning down what we've built, rather than compounding and cycling up. And we make everything feel so much harder because we're telling ourselves that we're a failure and feeling fully stressed throughout the process. Now, I'm not saying that you won't feel stressed as you grow and transform, even when you're acting from strategy. That's what the mind is going to do. It's there to protect you. But you want to get better at building and expanding your capacity to alleviate some of that stress. And that's why I've been teaching a lot about understanding transformation and the transformation cycle and how to approach that cycle, which is what growth is all about, consciously, so that you're really supporting your mind and your body throughout the process of growth. So I like to work with this 90-day cycle at a time. And really, before we go into a 90-day cycle, there's some really important work we do to position ourselves for that cycle. And then there's some work we do at the end of that cycle to really learn from what we've experienced. So I really think it's great to see the different goals you have for your business, to break them down into like 90-day to 5-month, 6-month chunks, so that you can really give yourself the appropriate space to actually solve those problems. And that's the reason you'll see in all of the ways I support my clients in my mastermind and my one-to-one coaching that I usually have the time frame we're working together somewhere between 4 and 6 months time, so that we can work this process. But as we all should know by now, growth is not just a stop and start journey, especially in business. We are always growing. We're always learning. There are always things we can improve. And sometimes what we need to prove is actually just sitting with what we've grown and holding that and enjoying that and not actually jumping on to the next thing. So whatever season of your business you're in, think about dividing up your year and your time and your seasons so that maybe there are 2 primary seasons each year for your business. 2 primary next steps you're focused on building into your business. This allows you to take a more sustainable approach to your business, and it will actually set you up to solve the problem. Now, of course, if you solve the problem in a month or in 3 months or 6 months, you can, of course, move on to whatever that next problem is if you want to. And it also, I suspect for some of you, if you're like me, if you're a high performer, you love to take action, you've got really big goals, and you do love a challenge, then it might feel like, well, 2 goals is not a lot, and I want to do way more in 1 year. I get it. I really do. But it's also so much better for you if you just focus on solving one thing at a time. And like I said, if you end up solving the problem in a quicker amount of time than what you created space for, you can simply go on to that next goal, right? But give yourself more time, because it might be that it needs about 4 to 6 months to really work through the process and learn from it. So set yourself up for success from the beginning, and remember to take a long-term approach with with your business. You're building something over the long term. You're creating from a really strong foundation. And when you're acting from strategy rather than stress, this means that the way you look at your business is not that everything's urgent and time is running out. You're really going to do it from a place where you're building something great. You're building something world class. You're building something purpose driven, something heart centered, something that really makes an impact and serves the people and the purpose that your business is built around. So, how then do we know what that one problem is that we need to solve for our businesses? Well, in this episode today, I'm teaching this concept of the one business problem. The reason I want to mention that word business in terms of the one business problem is because sometimes in business and our goals for business, they may not actually be about an actual business problem. They may not be anything that's really strategic or practical. And so I want you to know that what I'm going to share with you today is really helping you to solve those practical and strategic business problems, right? But you might have other business goals, and I still recommend that you use this same approach and concept for those goals as well. It's just that what I'll teach you today about what the problem is you need to solve, this is going to be based purely on your next strategic and practical business problem to solve for your business. I just simply can't meet all of the other problems you could be trying to solve and all the other business goals you could be trying to solve in one episode. So I've made the decision to focus on what that next practical and strategic goal is for business. So in our last episode, I introduced you to the idea of the 4 phases to a 200K plus offer journey. Now, I want to just remind you, if you haven't listened to that episode, that I really recommend you do go back and listen to that first, and I'm going to give you a quick summary here. So the concept of the 200K plus offer, which I'll probably do a total episode on this on its own at some point, is a concept I've come up with in order to focus my clients on creating a core offer for their business. Now, you can have multiple core offers, but I do recommend that you build one core offer at a time. That's usually appropriate for most people. And once you've got one core offer built up and running smoothly, then you might bring on a second core offer if you really want to. That's not something you have to have. In fact, from what I've seen in my almost 8 years of business, the most successful businesses in the coaching and personal development industry, which is the industry I specialize in, they tend to have only 1 or 2 core offers. And the reason I think that is because when we're focused on a core offer, we are focused on really becoming the best at that one thing, refining it, deepening it, having it get better and better over time. And I truly believe when it comes to our professional development as coaches, when it comes to creating something truly great, truly industry and niche leading, this is where those kind of businesses are born. So for me in my business, I've always been multi-passionate. I've always wanted to create a million things. And what I had to learn when I was moving from about $25,000 per year to $80,000, then quickly $100,000, and then on and on from there, was that the more I focused on a core offer in my business, and the more I focused just simply in my business, which I call entrepreneurial maturity, the more my business actually grew and the more I was able to highlight something really great about what I was creating. And this was even though I was an ex-lawyer. I had a 10-year corporate experience behind me. I was an award-winning coach. Like, all of these things were in my favor. And still, when it came to really thriving in business and generating the revenue, which means that I was able to serve more people and have a greater impact, it only came once I truly focused and allowed myself to get really, really great at solving one specific problem and creating one really great offering that I continue to refine over time. So my signature business coaching offering is my business mastermind. And the way that this started back in 2019 was very different to the way it is today. But over the years, I got to know how to make that better, how to use my zones of genius. I got to understand who it was really for in deeper ways. I got to improve the process. I got to really understand the people I was working with more and more and more. And because I stayed focused and committed to that offer, I got to create something really, really great over time. And so that's what I want for all of you. I want you to focus on creating and growing something great and stop expecting it to be great right from the beginning, and instead realize that the way we create great things is through staying focused and committed to them over the long term. And so my recommendation is, rather than focusing on growing a 6-figure or a multiple 6-figure business, you instead focus on growing a multiple 6-figure or 6-figure offer for your business, a core offer for your business. This focus then has you thinking in higher, more creative, innovative ways for your niche, your industry, your clients and community. And it also has you recognizing that all of the different processes, systems, and strategies in your business should be set up to support this offer and growing it, moving it through the 4 phases of an offer's journey. And when we're able to recognize that each core offer in our business has its own systems and processes and strategies built around it in order to move it through the 4 phases of an offer's journey, we get to understand why it then feels so much when we have many different offers in our businesses. Because each offer, each core offer in your business is almost like its own business. And some of you might have lots of different offers, and none of them are actually a core offer or what you would consider a core offer, because none of them have really been allowed the time and space and focus to grow to where they have the potential to grow. And that's because your attention is scattered over all of them. I love helping people like this who are stuck around the $10,000 to $50,000 per year mark, because this is often the problem. They're just simply trying to focus on too many things at once, which is scattering all of their attention, and it has them not being able to solve the problem that needs to be solved next for each of their offers because of this. So my job is really helping them to decide which offers to focus their attention on, or maybe we create a different offer, and then really helping them to understand what that next problem is that they need to solve in that offer's journey in order to grow it in the most effective and in the most efficient way as well. So the 4 phases to an offer's journey are the same 4 phases we talk about when we talk about business. But the way that we're now thinking about this in the way that I teach it with the 4 phases to a 200K plus offers journey is specifically with one offer at a time in mind. So what I want you to do is I go through the 4 phases again and introduce you to the one business problem that needs to be solved based on each phase of the offer's journey. Is I want you to just think of, what is that core offer for my business? If you don't know what it is, that's okay, because the first phase is for you then. But if you do have an offer that you know you want to make your core offer, or this starts to get you thinking about ideas of what a core offer could be, I want you to locate where you are in the 4 phases and then identify the one business problem you need to focus on solving, which is what I'm going to be teaching you in today's episode. So let's talk about the 4 phases and the one business problem that you can identify based on the phase your offer is in. The first phase is starting an offer. Now, this phase is all about creating your offer. And the result that you want to create by the end of this phase is a clear offer that solves a specific problem for your client. So in this phase of your offer's journey, the problem we're looking to solve here is, what is my offer? In its most simple terms, that is what we're solving here. And the way that we do that is through getting clear on who is my client, what is the problem I'm helping them to solve, and what is my unique solution to this problem. So I'm going to give you 3 journal questions to ask yourself here that will help you start to solve this one business problem. The first question is, who is my client? The second question is, what is the problem I'm helping them to solve? And the third question is, what is my unique solution to this problem? Now, at this phase of an offer's journey, bonus points for also considering an aligned business model for you and your life. This is what I help my clients to do. Many people have not considered what would actually be aligned for them being the person executing the offer. So you end up creating offers that you're excited about, but practically when it comes to executing them, they just don't work for you in your life. You don't feel like you're thriving. It's not sustainable. You simply don't have the energy or time capacity. It's not using your zones of genius, and it's not allowing you to live your life in the other ways that feel important or to have the lifestyle you want. So for instance, in my business, if I had to be location specific in terms of where I work and I built my offer based on that, that would not be in alignment with what I need to thrive as a human, and it wouldn't align with the rest of my life, my desired lifestyle, and also my zones of genius, which are really environment specific. So for me, I need to be able to move freely around the world. I live all over the world. I love to move at the drop of a hat. And this to me is freedom. So I created my business model around this value of mine, knowing what I need to thrive, knowing what life I want to live, and then working with that when I come up with my offer. So this is something I specialize in helping my clients to do. And it is one of the most important first things we do together when I work my clients through my holistic business process. So that's the first phase of an offer's journey. And if you ignore answering this properly, what happens is you might start growing something in your business and offer, but either it's not aligned because it's not an aligned business model, or you actually haven't slowed down to solve that one business problem you need to solve, which is what is my offer, so that you have a clear offer that solves a specific problem for your client. So by the time you get to the next phase, you're not clear on who your client is or what the offer is or what your unique solution is. You don't have all of these clear details. That then impacts your messaging, your marketing, your sales, just absolutely everything you're doing in your business. And so you will eventually have to go back and start all of this again. It can even impact things like, what name am I using for a podcast or my program, or just all of these sorts of things. And so you're simply going to have to go back and do that at some point, which will just end up taking more time and slowing you down. So getting these things right as best as you can with the information you have at this point and season of your life and your business is really important. Now, I just also want to add that I'm not saying you won't change things later. We all grow and evolve. New information will come in through the journey. And so there will be changes, but you don't want to make that even more than it needs to be because you simply haven't slowed down to do this work initially. Okay, so once we have a clear offer on the table that's ready to sell, we want to go into selling. The second phase to an offer's journey, including a 200K plus core offer for your business, is all about validating an offer. The result you want from this phase is an offer that has sold in revenue. Now, I like to use the number of $10,000. You can insert whatever currency you obviously use and sell in, and you can also change that figure if you want to and it makes sense for you and your business. I like to use the number of $10,000 because I believe once you've sold about $10,000 worth of your offer, you have enough idea of what actually works to market and sell your offer. Now, this is not always true, and it is more of an art rather than a science to come up with what that figure is. But what you want to know by the end of this phase is what works to market and sell your offer. So you would know what messaging is working, you would know what sales process and conversion process is working for your offer, and you'd also have some idea about your marketing process. Now, when it comes to the validation phase, many people, instead of focusing most of their attention here on selling to the easiest accessible community of potential clients around them right now, they instead put so much time and energy into building and growing a large community that they can sell to. But you don't need to do this at this stage of your offer journey. Now, this doesn't mean that you're not growing a community. What it does mean is that the one business problem you're working on solving and putting the most attention and focus on right now is actually on selling. So you're selling to your community, no matter what the size is, rather than trying to grow more leads for your business being the number one priority. So a lot of people focus on leads first rather than your conversions. And this means that you start funneling people through a funnel, whatever that looks like for you and your business, that isn't actually ready or working. So what we want to do instead is actually work out, hey, let's just start selling to the community of people I have. And of course, we will also naturally be growing that as we're doing this. But let's just work out how we actually sell this offer. And then once we know how to sell it, then we'll focus on growing the community and bringing more leads into that community as a number one priority. So at this phase of the business journey, the number one problem you're looking to solve is, how do I sell this offer? And by the end of this phase, you will want to know what works to market and sell your offer. So the questions I have for you to help you with a starting strategy for validating an offer are the following. Number one, where is the easiest accessible community of my potential clients right now? Number two, what is my core messaging for my offer? Number three, what is my marketing and sales process for this offer? Now, if you don't know the answers to these questions and you want support, just like all of the answers to your questions from the previous starting phase, these are questions I help my clients to solve and to answer. So that's something I can help you to do in my mastermind and my private coaching. Just make sure your name is on the wait list, either at letitiaringe.com/HBM for my mastermind, or at letitiaringe.com/HBCP for my private coaching program. Now, the thing that I want you to know through this phase is that one of the challenges is actually staying in the game during the validating an offer phase. First things first, most people completely skip this phase. So like I said, they just focus on growing something that isn't ready to be grown. So they're focusing on bringing more leads in and looking at strategies other business owners are using because they have a clear offer on the table that is also validated. But that's not going to work for you, and it's not something you should bother focusing your time and attention on, especially the 80% of your attention in your business. And instead, you want to just be focusing on, well, what actually works to market and sell my offer? You need to test different messaging. You need to try different ways of selling and converting. You need to suck at it and fail at it. And you need to not throw out a strategy just because you suck at it or fail at it the first time. You need to learn how to review data, how to know what to tweak, how to pivot things slightly rather than throwing everything out. But so many business owners, because of their mind being stressed out and acting from a place of stress rather than strategy through this phase of the offer journey, they either throw the offer out or they throw the strategy out to market and sell their offer, or they're just focusing on the wrong thing. They're implementing strategies to bring in more leads when that's not something you need to focus on right now. Let me just be really clear about something though. Just because you're not focused on bringing more leads into your community, again, this doesn't mean that you won't have more leads coming into your community. Also, just because you're not focusing on growing and that being the goal that you're working towards, it also doesn't mean that you're not creating content, that you're not on social media, that you're not getting out there and speaking to your clients and community and creating a community. That is definitely something you also want to have in place. You need to have somewhere where you're speaking to the people, but it means that you're not focusing on how big your social media following is or how big your email list is. Like, these things can still be happening, but that shouldn't be the primary focus of your attention. Instead, you're focused on selling to the community you actually have in order to find out what actually works to sell your offer. This is really important. So 80% of the game here, at least, I would even bump that all the way up to 95%, is once you decide on the strategy you're going to implement to market and sell your offer, is actually being able to stay focused to keep executing that marketing and sales strategy, giving it enough time to work, even when it doesn't look like it's working, even when you want to stop the process and just quit. even when you want to completely throw out the strategy. You got to learn to be focused and disciplined and learn how to review and understand data and try new things and know what to tweak and what not to tweak. And that's why working with a coach or mentor through this phase of your business journey is incredibly important. This phase is truly the hardest part, but if you slow down to really focus on validating, it sets you up for easeful growth and scaling in the future. If you try to grow something that has not been validated, you just grow all of those problems and you end up wasting your time. For instance, if you find out over many years that the particular people who love to buy from you, who you work really well with in your offer are X, but you have spent most of your business journey focusing on promoting and marketing your offer to another group of people, let's call them Y, then this just means you've spent all this time, all this energy, sometimes even money if you're using paid strategies. And let's just also think about your own time being paid as well as if you were an employee. You've just wasted all of that because you didn't slow down to actually find out who are these people who are buying my offer and getting that right in the first place, and then pouring all of that time, energy, attention, and money into growing that thing that's already working. So this is one of the most important pieces to entrepreneurial maturity that I help my clients to really understand and adopt. And it's only natural that we respond in this way, right? Because our body and mind is triggered into that stress, fear response through the process of growing. It's thinking this isn't going to work. It's thinking I'm doing something wrong. It's thinking marketing and selling is icky. So you have so much that you're working through during this phase. And that's why it's really important to understand how growth and transformation works and to set yourself up for success during this phase by working with someone who can really hold you through this phase. It's truly, truly such an important part of your offer journey. And also it's a really important part of business generally. Now, the first time you go through the process of validating an offer might be more intense for you and for your mind and your body particularly. But once you expand your capacity to move through a validation phase, it gets so much easier in the future for whenever you need to validate again. And as you're going to learn in the moment, even though you might focus on only having one core offer for your business, it could be that you actually need to go through this cycle all over again in the future. So you really want to get this down pat, this process of validating and being able to expand your capacity to validate, because it is an essential skill that will come up at various times through your business journey. Okay, let's talk about the third phase now, which is after we have a clear offer on the table that we now have validated. So now we know exactly what works to market and sell our offer. Now we're ready to grow that offer. So you've got a validated offer that you're looking to grow. The result you want from this phase is an offer that has grown from $10,000 in revenue, or whatever your figure was, to $100,000 in revenue. Okay, again, you can play with these numbers, but I like to use the number of 10,000 and 100,000 here because most of the people who come to me and who want to grow their business, they want to at least have a six-figure business. And especially in the coaching and personal development industry, any offer that you have is totally possible to build to six figures, but our brain tells us we need to have multiple offers, many offers to get to six figures. But I'm telling you, if you are leading your business with an offer that cannot be built to six figures, then that is not a sustainable core offer to have for your business. That is a supporting offer to support a core offer for your business. So you really want to identify what the core offer is for you. And if you don't have it, then you need to go to the first phase and get support to figure that out. And that's something I can support you with. Okay, so the one business problem that you need to solve at this phase is answering the question, how do I grow my sales for this offer? Now, the way we do this is through refining your validated processes to grow your offer and bringing in more leads. Okay, so this is the part of the offer journey where you're going to be focused on growing your leads, expanding your community, bringing in more people who are the people that you want to sell your offer to. Okay, so you want more people going through your funnel, more people in the community that will then move through the very intentional funnel that you now are aware works to sell your offer. Can you understand again why, if we don't have a validated process for marketing and selling your offer, and you're bringing more people through, even if you're going out, you're meeting people in person, you're meeting people online, you're spending all your attention really building this community, but you don't know how to market and sell your offer, like this is just wasting all of those people and it's wasting your time. So at this phase, this is where we really turn to leads because we want more people going through the validated marketing and sales process. And also by this time, we've also delivered our offer and we've got more people going through the offer. So what we're also learning is what really works for deliverability of our offer, and we're learning to refine that. So when I say refining your validated processes, you're also refining not only marketing and sales, but you're refining client delivery as well. So this is a really exciting part of the business journey. But the trouble is our brain gets so easily distracted because it now wants to go and make another offer, or it doesn't want to slow down to validate the process in the first place, or it doesn't want to look and understand the data so that you can tweak your processes as you keep refining them. So also sometimes you will have validated processes for your business. It could be your marketing and sales processes, or it could be your client delivery processes. They might be working and then they might stop working. When this happens, you need to possibly go back to the earlier phase to go back again and validate some of those processes. Now, rather than seeing yourself as having failed in some way, it's better just to be neutral about the situation and go back through that process of validating so you can move to growing again. But so many people don't want to see the facts in front of them because of the way they'll judge those facts. That is all about mindset. And it's also, again, moving from a place of strategy rather than from a place of stress. So the 3 questions I have for you to help you start to solve this one business problem here are the following. Number 1, what is my validated process for marketing and sales in my business? Number 2, how can I double down on my validated processes so that 80% of my attention is here? And then number 3, where is there room for improvement? So when it comes to refining your validated processes, instead of focusing your attention on trying lots of new things, which is what your mind is going to want you to do, you need to be really clear on what your validated processes are. And then you want to spend more time on just those. So you're almost giving up all of the other ones and then bringing all of your attention onto those. This will make them grow, right? But we also still need a little bit of space for always looking at where we could improve, because there could be some of the rest of the things that you are doing that actually could be working if you tweaked them slightly, or maybe you do have some bright new ideas that would work. It's just we want to keep that part of what you're focusing your attention on to 20% or less of your time and attention, right? Because why wouldn't you, if you know something's working, why wouldn't you throw more of your time and attention on moving people through those validated processes? Like that's what growth is all about, okay? But you've got to slow down to validate first, and then you've got to slow down to really understand your data. So this again is why working with a coach or a business mentor through growing your offer from that validated figure of about $10,000 in revenue to six figures is really helpful. You're going to learn how to review your data from a neutral perspective, which is what a coach does, right? Like the coach has a neutral perspective of you and your business, which means that when it comes to decision making and reviewing strategy, reviewing the data from what you've been executing, it's much easier for the coach to see that neutrally than it is for you, which is why it helps you to expand your perspective. And of course, if you're working with a coach who also specializes in mindset and body and nervous system regulation like I do, the coach is also going to help you to not get distracted and really hold you through that process, which is incredibly valuable. Okay, so after we've grown the offer, we now move to the fourth and final phase of the offer journey, which is all about scaling an offer. So in this phase, you want to scale your core offer, and the result you want from this phase is an offer that you scale to $200,000 in revenue plus. Now, you might also have a different scalability goal at some point of your offer journey. So once you've got 200K plus from this offer, maybe you want to increase that revenue. Or you might actually want to experience more ease, more sustainability, more impact from that offer. And all of these could be scalability goals. The one business problem you need to solve, no matter what the scalability goal is answering the question, how do I scale this offer? Now, how you actually scale this offer, the strategy, the starting strategy you want to work with is going to depend on what your scalability goal is for this phase. So let's talk about what some of those goals could be. So let's say one of your scalability goals is revenue related. Maybe it's to reach $200,000 in revenue through this core offer, or maybe it's multiple six figures, or maybe it's something that is revenue related that is a figure more than this because you've already reached $200,000 in your business or multiple six figures. Now, if that is your scalability goal, then there are a number of ways you can go about it, and it will depend on you, your business, and what you're really desiring for your business as you move forward. So let's say that you want to keep the offer as it is and you need to just sell it to more people. This will mean that your strategy will need to have something to do with bringing more leads into your community, right? So the way you're going to approach solving this problem is you want to look at how you can actually keep growing your community and bringing more leads in through your community. Let's say, however, that you've maxed out the amount of people that you can serve with this offer and you don't want to budge on the price point. It's no longer feeling aligned because you're feeling drained or whatever the reason is. And so now actually what you want to do is reach those income goals, but you actually need to either change the price or you need to sell it to more people. In both of these cases, you are essentially changing the offer. So this means you need to go back to the first phase of your offer journey to start a new offer. This means you'll then need to move it through validating that offer, growing that offer, and then scaling it. So many people do not do this. They see that they are changing the offer, the price point, or the amount of people that they sell it to and the way that they deliver it, and they don't consider this as a new offer. And instead, they just simply, make the offer, expect everything to work in the same way, but you're actually possibly selling to a slightly different person. And you need to go through and validate that particular offer and the processes around it. So you want to slow down to speed up. And when you've been told that certain phases of an offer's journey are better than others, this might lead you to not wanting to go back to starting or validating because you're scaling and you're this six-figure business owner and whatnot. But actually, in order to grow it to meet the scalability goals you have, you need to slow down to speed up and go back to square one so that you can do it properly and set it up for success. Otherwise, you are most likely going to see that the processes you used before don't work in the same way as they did for the last offer as they will for this one. And it doesn't mean that it needs to take as long as it took before. You now have a community built around this particular problem. It's just that you're going to need to learn how to market and sell it and know what the difference is. So slowing down to speed up with the expanded capacity you have, because you've already been through all of these phases before, it should mean that either, as a minimum, there's more ease for you as you move through that process. And secondly, possibly that it is quicker to move yourself through the different phases. But either way, you need to make sure that you're slowing down and going back to the first phase and working your way through again, because it is a new offer. When it comes to the new offer, as well as the price point, if that's changing, you may also need to do some work around your mindset around that. And so it's really important to go back and clear all these things up before you move through trying to grow and scale that offer, because really it's not validated yet. Okay, so that's a revenue-related scalability goal. You might also have an impact related scalability goal, and this could look like you want to serve more people through your offer. Now, you might actually be able to do the same offer and expand your capacity for how many people you hold through looking at team and systems in the background. So your strategy here might actually look like expanding your team, bringing on support coaches, for instance, or simply automating as much of the process you can, maybe eliminating some of the process, maybe building better systems and processes around that particular offer. And so that might be what you're focusing on in order to scale this offer so that it has more impact. Or your offer, as in the previous example, might need to change because you want to create an offer where you can serve more people. For instance, you might be going from one-to-one coaching to group coaching or a mastermind style, or it could be moving to events or online courses. And so your business model is now changing, and therefore the offer is changing. And so you've got to go back to starting that offer, validating it, growing it, and then moving into scaling it. So as you can see, the different scalability goals have different options, and how you get there just depends on what you really want for your business as you move forward. And finally, I'll give you one more example of a scalability goal. You might also have a scalability goal that is around ease and sustainability. So maybe you simply want things to be more sustainable in your business. You want to work within your zone of genius more, or you just want more support. This could simply look like focusing on your team and systems as well. So I want you to understand that when you look at other people's strategies in their businesses when it comes to scaling, the strategies that they use are so nuanced based on the scalability goal and also the strategy that's most aligned with the reason they have that goal. So it's really, really important to not compare yourself to what other people are doing. Otherwise, you'll end up implementing strategies that are not even aligned with what you want to scale, or that stop you from scaling because you're trying to implement too many strategies at once. So in this phase, we're getting very clear what is that scalability goal and how do I scale this offer with that scalability goal in mind. Now, the 3 questions I have for you here to journal on are: number 1, what key outcomes do I want from scaling? Number 2, what is the one thing I need to focus my attention on next in order to do this? And number 3, where does that place me in my offer's journey? Being clear on what your goals are and allowing yourself to, inverted commas, start again is something that a coach or business mentor can support you with. Sometimes it's really hard to understand what our scalability goals are. And sometimes we have many different scalability goals, and it can feel like some of them are competing. And so working with a coach to help you really prioritize and get clear on what it is you want and what the possibilities are is really helpful. And then supporting you through that offer journey and process, especially if you're needing to go back and start, validate, and grow again, or even just scale because you're expanding your capacity to some level, this is all about your mind and body. So not only do you need practical and strategic support, but you're also doing something new. And because you've got something that's working, it can feel even harder and more stressful for your body and mind to let go and move into that unfamiliar new territory. So this is where a coach who not only supports you with the strategy, but also with mind and body support becomes really, really valuable. And that is something I can support you to do in both my mastermind and my private coaching program. Okay, everyone. So that was a long episode with a lot of extremely valuable information. I wish that someone had have been able to give that to me much earlier in my business journey. And so by now, you should be able to identify what the one business problem is that you need to solve based on the phase that your core offer for your business is in right now. You now know also how to build a 200K plus core offer for your business. You know what the 4 phases are to an offer's journey, and you also know how to build a multiple 6-figure plus business as well. So where to from here? Well, the thing is, if information was all we needed to create an amazing, thriving, purpose-driven, heart-centered, profitable, sustainable, enjoyable, and all the other things business, if it just came down to information, then we'd have way more successful business owners out there, and we'd have more fulfilled business owners out there. But the truth is, when it comes to success and fulfillment in your business journey, it's little to do with information and everything to do with the journey itself. That is where working with a coach or a mentor can be so extremely valuable, so that you have someone to partner with you on your journey. Yes, this helps for actually growing your business. And it actually just makes the business journey so much more fun and enjoyable because it can be extremely lonely. I cannot tell you how much I have valued working with a coach or mentor throughout my business journey. I've invested so much money through every stage of my business working with a coach or mentor on my team because I don't want to do it alone. And because I understand that when I have someone with that objective, neutral perspective on my business, this allows me to see things that I just can't see. And when I feel supported in my business, I feel less stressed. When I'm able to have my mind and body supported through the process of transformation, I step out of my way, which means that I just show up on a whole other level than what I'm doing when I'm stepping in my way throughout the process. So if you want support through your business journey, this is something I can support you with in either my mastermind or my private coaching program. Make sure you pop your name on the wait list so that you can find out when doors next open. And you can do that over at letitiaringe.com/HBM. That's for my mastermind, and letitiaringe.com/HBCP. That is for my holistic business coaching program, which is my private coaching program. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't yet left a review for the podcast, please could you go ahead and leave a review now? I would love to know your feedback. I'd love to know how this is helping you, and I absolutely love hearing from you. So I'd love to see your review there. Have an amazing week, and I'll be with you again next week while we take a little shift in the way that we're exploring business to explore things from a different perspective. I'm excited to share with you what the details are there, and I'll see you in our next episode. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast, your go-to resource for personal development and coaching. To deepen your learning and practice, make sure you're subscribed to receive our community newsletter. Subscribe at letitiaringe.com/newsletter. And if you haven't yet left a 5-star review for the podcast, we ask that you please do that now so that this podcast can reach other listeners who also want to join us in creating a life that is beautiful.